give the beautiful people a perspective now. That's, of course, as we said, the Hungry Monk across the road, which is one of the other kind of original buildings as well as Mount View.
Yes, that was known as North View.
North View, nice, nice, right.
So,
and who were the family there?
There was Hogan's.
Right,
Hogan's,
okay. And you're saying they're still around? Or?
Yeah, Patrick Hogan was the son, used to pal around with them. And one of the Hogan girls works in the bookshop down there.
Lovely.
Which is part of our garden, as a matter of fact.
Well, we should let them know that because you know they've been there for quite a while.
Yeah.
Now we should say, Keith, beautiful house. Now it was built in 1864 by the Latouche estate. I think it changed. The first kind of residence here was Stevenson. They left in 1894, and since then, pretty much it's been in your family. There was obviously the Egans themselves, your own family.
The Evanses were till 1894.
Right.
And then the Stevensons took it over, I think, as far as I recollect. Yeah. And
in 1958, I think, was their kind of a...
Yes, that's when my father bought it in an auction in the...
Right.
About 60 or 61.
Yeah, right. And you were saying that there was a family connection because your father, who's in this picture here, and we will get this up on the guide too, he was related to directly related to the previous family.
Yes,
his keenness was to keep it in the family.
Through my mother, he was related to them.
Right.
Because the connection was the Buckleys, which are quite a few Buckleys around the area at the time.
Right.
And Lily Stevenson was a Buckley.
Yeah.
Before she met and married Mr. Steve.
Now, while we were sitting there having a cup of tea, I just say, I love houses with odd features. So you've got this idea that we're in the kitchen, but you've got like steps up to that room here, which is just fantastic.
This is known as our playroom.
Yay! That's what you want, a bit of playroom. But you've also got like a basement here, and you've got the full shebang. But that's fantastic. I just have a quick look here. I just love the fact that it's. I grew up in an old house up in Blackberry Lane, so I just love old features, and the design was not anything to do with beauty. It was often just practical, and it just.
That's right.
We're left with a bit of space. Let's make a room out of that.
Yeah, that's right.
And you've got your basement there, which you're saying you'd use for your photographs, and wow.
That's
well, no, I think there's a horror film just waiting to happen. That's a beaut, and I don't want to go in there because I'm sure it just keeps on going down forever and ever. It's a lovely little room. You know what? Yes, I see now. Yeah, I'll only stand here for a sec, but I don't think we're going to get anything on the old cameras. But that looks, that's a handy little spot. I just love that. I love curious, just those little rooms that especially if you're a kid. I'm sure when you what age did you been now? When you were born and grew up here?
I was about 3 years old when I arrived here.
Ah, you lucky swine! You lucky swine! Right in the middle of the town with a beautiful house and. But I'll let you. This is obviously the kitchen, and actually we were sitting
in here was divided, and in there was a maid's room, and you can see the remains of a mantle.
Right, yes, just at the back. Yes, brilliant. Well, that's cool.
That's the kind of poor unfortunate maid had to.
Was this her bed up here, or?
No, that was storage.
That's storage. Okay, that's all right. I thought maybe she was a kind of a hipster. But lovely.
Here was just over here was originally the back door into the garden.
Right.
But that is separate. That's a separate part now. That's a separate belonging to somebody else.
Lovely. Beautiful. But and now I know that the line of this house is different, and it matches the Hungry Monk to the main street, and that was the original line of the town, I think, or Main Street, or
yes.
is that?
Yeah, that was where things started to take off after the railway was built.
Right. Okay. And then they just on the change would have been to lead down more directly to the railway line. I guess.
Yes, it basically was, I suppose, the convenience of others rather than.
Yeah.
And this was our.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm sure it must be, just as I said, as a kid, it must have just been fantastic because, as I said, you're right in the heart of
yes.
You know, by the 60s, the town was starting to pick up. It wasn't like a thriving, huge metropolis that it is now.
No, but you can
there
still,
would have been.
You can still recognise people's cars by their fine engine.
Yeah. Well, you can recognise people's horses by their cough in the dark. You knew who that horse was.
This is we spent most of the time in, really.
Now, as I said, I checked before I came down now. I have about 50 quid on me now. I'll put that down as a deposit, and then I'll buy you a lottery ticket every week for the next 50 years. And if it should work out, that'll suit me. It'll be very handy for the be handy for the guide. Just have
84 million, I think, tonight.
Oh, there you go. Well then, Jesus. After you, sir, I'll let you. Bum. But was it a kind of a long, kind of hard decision to say, well, you know, it's time to move on? I don't know.
No, really, because there were 3 of us in the family. There was my brother and I, and
right.
sister Barbara, and
lovely.
It's the family house. So.
Right. So it must have felt it's different when it's when the time has moved on and you're not actually you know, together and it's not like a family home as such.
No,
you're all separately living.
It is the bolt hole. Like if we never had any trouble or we were in, we always ended up here, even we long gone. You know?
Yeah, similar thing up Blackberry Lane now with the Burns. We always had the old house to sort of as a sort of a stopgap between if you had your family and your own kid and all that, you'd start there and then work your way to a house that you can afford. But yeah, here we go.
So, and across the road there was, as I said, the Hogans.
Right, the Hungry Monk now, and
there was the Robbies, Johnny Robbie and John Robbie, and
right. Because I would do a photograph I'll include it of the main street, you know, just early days of you know, there's so much change, of course, over the last few decades. But when this was all private houses, and this is, it was said that this is kind of like the last private house. It's certainly the only house on the main street that never doubled as a shop.
That's right. As far as I understand, there are people. We have our neighbours next door, Mary O'Reilly.
Yes,
that's a private house now, but there was a shop at one stage.
Yeah, because I know that the tea room thing was very popular, and you'd even all the way down Trafalgar Road, you get little spots there with tea rooms and all sorts of. And it was just, I think it was just a nice sort of family thing. It's the very country thing to do, like have your house and your little bar or little shop sort of connected, like the beautiful Moonies. You know, I mean,
that's right.
Now don't tell me, I'm guessing this is the bathroom, right? Because I'm pretty good at all this stuff. Well, I was a detective for a few years, you know, and I just have to, you learn these instincts.
And you see the future here.
Oh yes. It's just a Happy Pears hummus factory, is it? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. They just want to dedicate it. There's a lot of money in hummus now.
You have a beautiful view. Well, unfortunately, it's gone now.
Oh yeah, you'd be able to see all the mornings. I'd say you get some great sunrises. It'd be almost worth having a shower every day just in case.
Yeah, but you can stand in the shower and have a.
There you go. There you go. Get your own sort of sunrise going, so that people can look back from. That'd be a nice thing to wake up to every day. All right. The only thing is now you've got to watch out for the Happy Pear lads. They will be blocking it, so you just have to let them pass. And then got a second bathroom there, which is always a handy thing to have. And I was supposed to go along there. Is that all right? Yeah, that's great. Bum bum. Yeah, sure. I'll start on the left, so we're not.
This is my parents' room.
Nice big space. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Yeah. That's a cracker. I mean, I just think the idea you see, the great thing about this house is that when someone said that, you know, Mount View was for sale, I had to figure out where is that, because I couldn't quite picture it. But then I realised, of course, that house that's sunken a little, just ideally sunken from the main street. So you're not really looking at it ever when you walk by. You just sort of you go by the gate and.
This is my granny's room. That was Hannah Buckley. She was a kidney when she got married, but that was Lily Stevenson's first cousin. So.
Ah, wow, okay, so again, like the connection of lovely, very nice.
This was in there, this is my room.
Deadly.
Or most, when I was living there for most.
I love the old, I know that there was a change of a fireplace from one area to the next. That'll happen always, I think. People only learn after as well if you've kept the original. Yeah, but I think there's a natural thing, especially in the 60s, there was a kind of modernisation thing of, especially in architecture, and that everyone just wanted to get away as far as they could from traditional designs, and everyone just
Victorian house, you see, and
everybody wanted to. It felt like that's the past. We've got to move on. And I blame Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles and Bob Dylan and all that. They were very upsetting, trying to change things all the time. But I got to say, stunning house, and you know, if you have any trouble selling it, I'm happy to caretake. I mean, I don't know, it's a big ask on your part to ask me, but you know, I'm just saying I'm happy to. I know it's a little bit sort of out of the way, and obviously when you've got the Hungry Monk there, you've got the danger of people like Sonia Sullivan and Bono coming out and having a whiz in your garden when they're just taking short. So you know, I'm willing to like caretake and look after all that.
One of the advantages, if you have no money,
right,
you can open the door and you can get a nice smell of steak or a curry.
We'll just hold your rice cake up long enough, it'll get a bit of the scent off it, it'll just feel like it's flavoured.